He basically sat me down. He's like, what I had to find for myself was how to find the music in my work, how to find that, that really cool orchestration between me and the other players of my team at work. And how do we create something beautiful and magical together? And I loved that. And he's like, I want you to really look and see where you can find the dance in your work. I think one thing that is interesting at this point, given the current circumstances, is finding how we can still, let me back up. In corporate, I had a boss who was very good at what he did. He was basically the man in charge of marketing for UGG boots. And he brought UGG from 33 million to 1.1 billion, over his and more, because he's still with them. But he also played in a band. And so he sat me down in his office. He was my boss at the time. And he's like, all right, Molly, I know you like dancing. It was kind of a point of contention because, the time I spent on the weekends and I would drain myself at the dance thing and then I'd come back totally swung over on Mondays. It was an issue. And I did make a concerted effort not to have that happen. I didn't feel like it was very well acknowledged at the time, but he was basically saying okay, I play in a band and I love it a lot. And there was a point where I had to really figure out, do I want to go and try to make that band a pro thing? Or do I kind of stick with this weird company called UGG when it was kind of just a thing at the time before Oprah picked it up, before all those things? And
before every college girl on campus was wearing them.
And I still have mine from 7 years ago that I got at our sales. Anyway, he basically sat me down. He's like, what I had to find for myself was how to find the music in my work, how to find that, that really cool orchestration between me and the other players of my team at work. And how do we create something beautiful and magical together? And I loved that. And he's like, I want you to really look and see where you can find the dance in your work. And I thought that was such a good mentor moment for him to see in me the struggle and then really encourage me to not put dance away, but to find the dance in my work. And there was so many, once I started looking for it, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. The way we create designs together, the way, the production team works with our factories and gets our POs fulfilled. There's so many parts that had to kind of come together. And it was really cool, all of a sudden you can just see a flow of energy, or there's a break. And so then you have to fix, there's a lot. We change factories 4 times in 1 year. There's a lot of stuff going on, but there's a lot to see and learn too from that, which I loved. And so since then, even in this time when it seems like dance has kind of been cut off, I'm like, well, where's the dance in the quiet? Where's the dance in the kind of respite that all of us are taking? And it's absolutely there if I look for it. And it's a slower pace and it's a little more subtle. But if you especially my neighbors have there's a bunch of little kids in our little group. There's a 3, 4, and a 5-year-old. And I used to kind of at least when life was happening, I'd kind of be like, oh, you're cute, but I got to go to the studio, run. And my life was just kind of very busy, but I took on the busyness as kind of a medal of, look how important I am. I'm too busy for you, and it was not good. And I knew that, but I didn't really know how to shift it. And so kind of forcing this situation has me realizing okay, I'm not really in a hurry anymore. I don't have to hurry anywhere. Also, I'm being better at trying to be early, so I'm not as hurried. I'll leave a bigger buffer so that if I run into the kids in the yard, I can stop and look at the ladybug with them and watch it crawl and that kind of thing, and really look them in the eyeball and connect and actually make eye contact, because I realized I wasn't doing that because it was too close, or it was too, I don't know, there's something about it that was I didn't want to because I had to go to my next thing, whatever. Yeah. So I'm interested to see, I'm asking myself this a lot. I'm where's the dance in not dancing? Where's the dance in book writing? Where's the dance in gardening? Because we're doing this massive garden situation, and just finding I wrote out my vision the other day of what I want to do and create as it's shifting. And then I checked back in and I was like, is that really what I want? Or is that what I think I should want? based on Instagram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to redo it because I'm like, yeah, no, I really like this pace. I don't know if I want to travel 30 weekends every year anymore. Maybe I do, like, I just create spaces of full on respite for myself to know that I get to have that. If that's important to me, which I know it is now, I actually do move at a slow pace, and that's okay. And I can like rally and go full out, but it's for like moments. That's not just some people are just high energy and they just go. And I love that, but that's not me.
Yeah. I want to circle back to a phrase that you used, which is like living in the quiet or dancing in the quiet moments, because that's a phrase I feel like it keeps coming back. I've used it in lessons with my students the last month or so, talking about the fact that often in dance, we're not dancing, like the emphasis on the dance, if we're talking about like a waltz, isn't the beats 1, 2, and 3, but it's how we get to 1. It's how we rise through 2 and 3. It's how we lower on 3 before 1. It's creating moments in the silence that are interesting and exciting and thought-provoking, and it makes you feel something. It makes you want to explore something. So I think absolutely, whether it's in the dance itself or whether it's in the dance that is life, it's finding those quiet moments and figuring out what can you do with them, and not seeing them as a pause or a break or, a limitation, but actually as the thing that you want to strive for is like, how can I fill this moment with as much as I possibly can, or just allow it to be a moment of breath and a moment of relaxation.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that. It's so true, especially in waltz. Like, if you're not filling those spaces and you're just like arriving, it's like, oh, that's not the waltz we know, because it is such a fluid, like the markers are only there to take a snapshot of like, okay, that's where you probably should be traveling through that moment. But like, that's not the point at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. The point is not to step on the count. The point is to push through the count
and drive through, and like, yeah, with that heel, oh yeah. And that's what I love about all of them, is like, that's what gets me so excited, is that metaphor in each little bit of the dance. And I think the Live Your Dance book, maybe just to close it out, it was birthed from one of my first lessons in country two-step, which is actually one of my favorite dances. I ended up, as soon as I found out West Coast swing was a thing, I started going to the studio to learn with Monty and Kristen Ham in Denver. And I found out they had just opened the studio, and I was standing next to Kristen as it kind of like transitioned to social dance. And I saw people dancing who were really good compared to me. I was like 2 weeks in. And I remember mentioning to her, I was like, man, I just want to be good already. And she was like, well, we do have a program where it's kind of like Dancing with the Stars. She was explaining a pro-am basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for the country circuit coming up for the Colorado Country Classic. And she's like, if you want, it was in like 3 months. She's like, you could do like a crash test and do waltz and two-step and East Coast, West Coast, and nightclub too. And I was like, okay, great. Like, sign me up. I get to dance with a pro, obviously. Let's go. So that's why we were in the two-step lesson. And he was basically saying, if I'm going to lead you, you can't be split weight. You can't have 50% of your weight in each foot, because I'm just going to push you over.
You have to commit.
You have to commit to one foot, and then that free foot is now available for me to lead it. And to me, that's very much like my relationship with the divine, is like, I just need to commit to the step I can see right now. I don't necessarily need to know exactly where the dance is going to go, but I can see the next step. Like, I can usually do that at least. And then my other foot is free, and ideally, I want that to be guided. I don't want to force it. I don't want to anticipate it and get ahead of the beat and then lose my connection and not be in a partnership. Like, I need to remain connected, remain guided, be listening, and take that initiative to take the step. There's so many nuances in that one thing that he said.
Yep.
That I think that's where that book started. And that's where, to me, that like that beautiful, like the lessons of dance are all there for life. And part of me thinks like if I can incubate the things that I want in my life in dance and then be able to let that kind of ripple out into my life, I'm going to be a better human. And if I can do that, then other people can do that. And dance can be that vehicle. So